You are tuned in to What Up Baltimore online radio. Please note that the views and opinions expressed on this channel are of the host and not of LadyJ Media. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, What Up Baltimore TV. And if you really don't want to miss any of the shows, hit that notification bell and you'll get a message every time we come on. Now, we got it from here, so sit back, relax, and stay tuned.
I know you do. I know you do, because that's what I do. I give you that kind of love that makes you come back. I'm your pusher, baby. You're a pusher.
Hey, little black boy, let me holler at you for a minute. I was once in your place, you should respect what I say. Some of the things I'm about to tell you just may save your life in a world where not much is right. Little black boy, you're gonna see and experience all sorts of things, but don't let your mind be locked in the chains. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Spitfire Poetry Shutdown. I am your host, John Hansboro. Today is August 2nd, 2023. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day thus far. You can always get my books, Unusual Favor, Spitfire Poetry Volume 1 and 2 on Amazon. This is being brought to you by LadyJ Media, Butterfly Entertainment. Make sure y'all go to YouTube and subscribe to the What Up Baltimore TV page. All right, this is a special moment today. This is the author spotlight. We won't be doing any poetry. This is the author spotlight. I like to bring authors on and just basically on my platform. I like everyone that watches my shows knows I like to just promote any and everybody who's doing something positive in poetry and writing and spoken word. And tonight we have the pleasure of having the published author. All right, S.N. Cole in the house today, everybody. S.N. Cole, how are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. It's wonderful to see you. Okay, everybody. Before we get started, I've known this young lady for about 30 years. We graduated high school together, and I saw I guess it was about maybe 2 weeks ago that you were getting ready to release a book, and I was like, wow, I haven't seen or talked to her in I don't know how long, and I gotta have her come on the show and talk about her book. We just had a high school reunion about maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 Saturdays ago. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to come to that, but my heart was there. And it's just so cool to have you on the show today. How are you? How have you been?
It's funny people ask that question, and out of habit, most people will say, "Oh, I've been good. How have you been?"
Mm-hmm.
For me, the answer is typically I've been taking it one day at a time.
Mm-hmm. Same here. So
the bus.
Mm-hmm. Same here. I definitely take it one day at a time. I do a lot of I'm learning to do a lot of things that I need to be done for me and not do for everyone else.
Yes.
I'm one of those type of people who I'll scramble around and do everything that needs to be done for everyone else around me, but I won't take the time to have that little bit of time for me that I need so I can continue to keep going. So I definitely get the one day at a time. So look, your book, all right, tell us the name of the book that you just have written.
So the name of, or the title of my book is How I Married a Bigamist.
How I Married a Bigamist.
Yes, and it's a true story.
Mhm.
Here it is.
I love it. That is a beautiful cover too. I like that.
Thank you. That's actually me on the cover. So yes, that's the title of my book.
How long have you been writing? Is this something that you've always done, writing, or is this something that you like picked up over the years?
No, so this is my first book. I have said over the years, because I have a 14-year-old daughter, that over time she's had some behavioral issues. She was diagnosed with ADHD and ODD, which I speak about in my book. And I was planning on writing a book about her and raising her, because there aren't a lot of communications, especially in the Black community, with dealing with children with ODD and ADHD. And I wanted to write a book about the struggles of raising her as quote unquote a single parent. Her dad and I got divorced when she was an infant, and we've co-parented the best that we have or could. Under certain circumstances, at one point I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, so we lived in a different state, and he was in Maryland. So just writing a book about her, but then when all that happened, and this has been recent, my therapist was like, you should, write everything down, get it out, write it down. And one day I was joking with someone and I said, I should write a book. I should profit off my pain, because although the title is How I'm Vegan, it's not the only thing that's in the book.
Right.
And unfortunately, I've had quite my share of traumatic relationships and betrayals and healing from them.
Mhm.
So it's really a book where men and women can, or women and men can, find healing. They feel like they're not alone. Because I feel like we go through things, and as a Black community, we hide it.
Yes.
We feel embarrassed when things happen. We feel ashamed. We tend to want to protect the person that has hurt us. So we hold on to a lot of things and we don't share it. I actually had a conversation with a good girlfriend of mine today, encouraging her to write her book. And I was telling her, like, when I posted the pre-order, so many people reached out to me telling me, congratulating me, telling me how my book, just whatever little bit I've posted, have helped them. They also have felt betrayed in a relationship. They felt alone. They felt embarrassed. They didn't want anyone to know. And they held on to it. They didn't want to tell their girlfriends that they were in a troubled marriage or infidelity or anything like that. And, I hope my book will tell people that it's okay to pick wrong. It's okay to be wronged. And it's okay to give someone that has wronged you more than one chance.
That's so powerful right there. Okay. You said so much right there. And a lot of that resonates with me as well. So my first book that I wrote is called A Usual Favor. And it's a true story about infidelity and addiction that me and my wife, that I'm still married to right now, that we went through from about 2012 to around 2017, 2018. Once I spoke with her about writing the book, because the same way with me going through therapy, I was talking to my therapist about it, and she's like, why don't you write down some of the stuff that you're dealing with? Because my first love is poetry, is what I do. So writing down what I was going through, I didn't even realize how it was healing me at the same time, while I was still dealing with the situations that me and my wife was in. I decided to write the book once my wife was like, you know what? I don't have an issue with you writing it. That's your truth. You tell it the way you want to, right? Because I talk about a lot and I expose some things that we dealt with.
Yeah.
And my main reasoning other than I found out it was therapeutic for myself was to also put out there that in our community, normally in the situation that I'm in, that I was in, is normally flip-flop. The woman is dealing with a man who's maybe addicted to drugs or alcohol, as you know, but in our story, it was the other way around. I was dealing with my wife who was dealing with an addiction to alcohol. And
Yeah.
at the same time, I was dealing with health issues at that same time. And what's crazy is what you just said. I did this. I knew that wasn't her when she was under that influence of drinking. And I knew it was a real addiction. This was a real something real that just she could not get over for years. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So in writing that book, it helped me to deal with what we dealt with. It made me and her both look at the situation in so many different ways. And it helped a lot. A lot of people the same was coming up to me and was like, man, you know, I wouldn't even some of my buddies honestly was like, I wouldn't even have wrote that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I
Yeah.
would not have put it out there of
It's,
what you dealt with as a man,
mm-hmm.
you know.
People
But
don't, men can be or should be vulnerable.
especially in our community, they that's an issue, I think, too. But my question was is that therapeutic for you though? Did you find that writing and doing it help you to get through some of the things that you dealt with?
I'm still dealing with some of it, and I think healing is a forever journey.
Yes,
I
right.
don't think you just wake up one day and you're like, oh, I'm good, everything's
Right.
great. Things are going to trigger you, a song, a conversation, a movie. So I think I'm still forever healing. I have my good days still, I have my bad days still. So it was therapeutic where I got it out, but it didn't um cause everything to go away.
Right.
You know, we still have scars, we still heal, and I take it one day at a time.
Absolutely. I definitely get that. I understand. So do you see another book in your future? Are you prepared to write something else?
I would like to, because my story isn't finished,
Right.
honestly. You know, and the book ends with the betrayal of finding out that my quote unquote spouse was currently married to someone else when we got married. So now you have to tell, or I have to tell, the after effects of that, because you you would never realize until you go through things how it really plays out. And I'm speaking of emotionally, mentally,
Mhm.
physically, on the body,
Mhm.
um, legally, and
Mhm.
as well as financially. It's not like, and so many people that I've talked to are like, oh, well, you're not really legally married, right? So it's like it never happened. I wish it was that easy, but it's not. You literally have to go to court, and you have to go in front of a judge to say, okay, your marriage is now void. Um,
Mhm.
and that's in Maryland. But don't forget, I live in Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
and their laws and rules are totally different when it comes to bigamy. They don't really even recognize it. So in Pennsylvania, you have to file a divorce and get a divorce decree, which
Mhm.
is insane, because you how do you have two divorce decrees that
Mhm.
kind of, you know, intertwine with each other?
Right.
So it's there's definitely going to be a second book. Hopefully the first one goes well, where I feel encouraged to write another book, but
Mhm.
there's still more to the story.
What is it like to have your first book published as an author? Like to say I'm a published author. What is that? How does that feel to you?
It's um it's I don't feel how I thought
Hmm.
I feel. Like when I got the book and I held it in my hand,
Hmm.
it still doesn't even resonate with me that I wrote a book.
Hmm.
it doesn't feel real that I had the material to put in a book. So it's exciting, but it's also fearful because I'm very transparent, very vulnerable in the book. Um, you know, in our community, we judge each other harshly. We judge ourselves harshly.
Yes.
And to put everything in the book that I put in there, it's a little bit of fear.
Mm-hmm.
But I keep telling myself, faith and fear can't live together.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I've done it, it's that thing of he wouldn't have brought me this far to leave me.
Absolutely.
So I try to keep my faith, but there's still a little bit of fear that creeps in every now and then when you think about who's going to read it. You know, I have 3 girls.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest is 28. My middle girl is 25. And then my 14-year-old, Rain, who is the one I was going to initially write the book about. And one day my middle daughter texted me and she's like, Mommy, I want a copy of your book. And I said, hold on. Hold on. How did you even know I wrote a book? And she's like, I saw the podcast and everything, and I'm really excited to read this book. And I'm like, Jesus, there's things in here that I definitely don't want my
Right.
to read, but she's an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, baby, you got to go online and order it like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
She wouldn't, but she did. So yeah, I'm waiting for her to read it and be like, okay, mother.
I really believe from for some reason, I really do believe that it's going to help so many people that you won't even believe what it will do for people. Like I shared a poem one time at a church. And I never grew up in a church. Church was not my thing when I was a kid growing up in my family and stuff. But I was at a place in my life when I was creating my book that I was unfamiliar with. I didn't know how I got there. I didn't know how to get out of it. I was just in a spot. I had no idea how to deal with it. Mm-hmm. So I started to go into my spirituality and things of that nature. And I shared a poem at a church at the main church that I was at. And afterwards, it scared me because of the reaction that some of the people had after I said the poem. Before I went up, they were already kind of worked up a little bit from the pastor that was there. But after I did the poem, it was something that just made me fearful, and it made me think to myself, I had a responsibility to share the things that I'm going through and dealing with, because it could help or inspire different people.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to come to grips with it. I didn't want to admit it, but after a while, I really started to see, the reaction from people, and it was like, wow, John, you really should just, and this is what I love to do anyway. So I'm like, this is what you have to do. You might as well just go ahead and do it, pray about it, and just keep going on with it, because we do judge each other a lot in our community. Me being a Black male, like I have some stuff in that book where, though, like I said, it's about addiction and infidelity. And like I said, me and my wife are still married to this day. We dealt with some things. We went to therapy. And I also had my 2 daughters go to therapy as well, because I wanted to know what they dealt with. I wanted to know things that they didn't want to tell me and my wife, because we all communicate, but they're not going to, I don't think that they're going to say every single thing that they felt when we were dealing with that. So we got therapy for them as well. And it really it's a wonderful help. You know what I mean? It really is. I wish that more of us in our community would have therapists or psychiatrists or whatever you need, or do whatever you need to get that release and get some type of reform on whatever you're doing. So in writing your next book, First of all, this process, talk to us about the process, because when I wrote my first one, it wasn't easy. I was lucky enough to find an editor that really was great with me, helping me. Talk about the process of writing it on this first book.
The process, luckily for me, I have a very good girlfriend, Taisha Downer. She wrote, published, and actually did some independent work as far as film. So I called her and I said, well, I sent her a message and I said, hey, you still have your publishing company? And she's like, yeah, I still have. I said, okay. I said, well, I have a story that I want to share to help other people. And I told her everything from, this is my half marriage, but I've been married 2 previous times before this one. And I said, this is my first marriage, this is my second marriage, and then this is this one. And she was like, oh, you've had a lot going on for one person. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely a story worth being told. And I even said to her, like, well, how do I find a ghostwriter? Because again, I had never written anything, right. And this is not what I thought I would write if I was going to write something.
Right.
And she said, well, why would you get someone to write your story? Mm-hmm. No one's going to write it the way you would. I think you should start like, and she gave me, advice, opinions. She gave me like things to do, when to do it. She said, set a goal for yourself. When do you think you want to have it out by? Well, this is what you should do now because it may take a while. So it was easier for me having her. And I was so appreciative to her because sometimes we as women and Black women don't want to help someone else. Mm-hmm. And I even told her, like, if someone else wants to write a book and I have the platform and the means to help them, most definitely, I have no problem with that. A friend of mine I spoke to earlier today is in the process of writing her book. And I said, if you need anything, just let me know. And she was like, well, your book just came out and I didn't want to take anything away from that. And I was like, you're not, because our stories are different. And even if they were the same, how you tell yours and how I tell mine and how we live them are going to be totally different. So don't worry about me. I'm here for you, just like someone was there for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like whatever God has for each of us is for what that is for each of us. It doesn't matter what we're all doing. You know what I mean? I have a lot of friends who do poetry. They got poetry books out. I do open mics sometimes. They do open mics. And it's like, I don't feel any competition in any way. I just don't. I feel like it's a community. When I started doing poetry, I got so much love. I felt a lot of love from people. When I go to open mics, I walk in, and when I leave, I feel totally different than when I walked in there. When I come out, I feel, I'm like refreshed. I feel good. I got ideas running through my head. I may have got up and said a few poems myself because I was inspired by what someone else did. So I feel as though whatever we're doing and we love what we're doing, God has a lane for all of us. There's no such thing as, I don't want to step on this person's toes, because we're all have a story to tell. We really do.
Yes. And I encourage everyone to tell their story. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been absolutely wonderful talking to you. It really is. You look absolutely amazing after.
Well,
wow.
Stress pound. So I'm sitting here fidgeting like, oh my God, holding your stomach, put your shoulders. Yeah.
You still funny too. Oh my God.
Weight hits different when you're over 45. And I'm not even going to tell everybody what we're approaching, but
tell me about it, right? My children tease me all the time. I'm like, whatever. So tell us how we can get your book.
So you can get my book by ordering it from my website. It's www.thecreativebaldgirltraditionalspelling.com. So www.thecreativebaldgirl.com.
Absolutely. So look, if you have like a flyer or anything, please send it to me. I love sharing everybody's material. I like to use my platform to help others. I believe that's why I'm doing this. So any information that you have, please send it over to me. I'll be happy to share it on all my social media sites. It's been absolutely wonderful talking to you and seeing you. Absolutely, absolutely. Tell us again one more time that website so we don't forget that.
Yes, it's www.thecreativeboldgirl.com.
All right.
It's how I married a bigger.
I love it.
Pre-order the book. You even get this cute little tote bag.
All right. Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's been absolutely wonderful talking to you. I definitely have to stay in touch with you. All right.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
All high school alum, we stick together.
Absolutely. Class. I ain't even gonna say what class we're from, right?
The math, because you said we just had our 30-year reunion. So
they can do the math, right? They can do the math. You're right.
I'm proud to you be the class of 93. The class.
That's right. Class to be, right? And we still look good. What? Still look good.
Amazing. Yes.
Absolutely. Look, Miss Cole, you be safe out there. I'll stay in touch with you. Like I say to everyone else, people watching, if you want to be blessed, you must bless somebody else. All right. That's the only way it's going to work. Miss Cole, it's been an absolute wonderful talking to you. Stay in touch with me. I'll stay in touch with you. Please keep doing what you're doing. I really feel like this is about to take off and you're going to help so many different people with your story, really.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, John. Tell your brother I said hello.
Absolutely. I will. You have a good night. Be safe out here.
Thanks. Bye.
All right.